Let's talk about our friendship or alliance with the French during the Revolutionary War. Early on in the Revolutionary War against Britain, France supported us secretly on the down low. They sent supplies to the Americans. Remember, the French hate the British, so they're happy to help us out. However, they're not willing to publicly support the Americans just yet. It's not until Washington's Continental Army wins an important victory in upstate New York. At the Battle of Saratoga, Washington has the advantage and he fully commits his forces to the battle against the British and defeats the British really for the first time in the Revolutionary War. It's after beating the British at Saratoga that the French and the British see that the Americans might actually succeed in this war. First, the British respond. Lord North, the Prime Minister of the British Parliament at this time, tries to make peace with the American colonies. He extends an offer to the colonies from Britain. He offers that the colonies would remain part of the British Empire. However, they would have the power to tax themselves. They could elect their own governors and assemblies, and no British troops would remain in the colonies during times of peace. However, the Americans leading the country during the war are not open to this idea. They also know that they might win this war. At the same time, Benjamin Franklin is our ambassador in France. Franklin, being very clever, tells the French that the colonists are considering accepting the British offer. France does not want this. They want the American colonies to be independent so they can trade with us. They want the American colonies to be independent so that Britain is weaker. And they want the American colonies to win the war so that Britain is embarrassed. So, Franklin tells the French that the colonies are considering accepting this offer, but says that they might reconsider if France is willing to recognize the United States. And that's just what they do. In 1778, the French and the American colony, or the Americans, sign what's known as the Treaty of Amity and Commerce. It says that France and the United States will be trading partners. And more importantly, they recognize the United States. In other words, they acknowledge our independent existence. They are looking at us and saying, yes, you are an independent nation. You are no longer a colony. You have a government that is a representative of the people within your geographic boundaries. You are your own independent country. In the same year, the Treaty of Alliance is also signed, which says if France and Britain go to war, and by this point it's imminent, France is definitely going to war with Britain. If France goes to war with Britain, France will not accept a peace treaty until the United States is granted independence from Britain. In other words, the French will continue to fight the British until the British agree to give us our independence. Also, France gives up all their claims to lands east of the Mississippi. So Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, all of that, France is saying, that's yours, United States. You can have that. We're not going to compete with you for that any land east of the Mississippi. When France commits to the war effort, what was a conflict in North America immediately becomes a global war. And Britain needs to defend their homeland first. Look how close France is to Great Britain. They are worried about a French invasion. They need ships defending the English Channel and keeping the French out of England. So, some of those ships that were in North America are transferred back to Europe. This leaves the British Navy, as large as it was, just slightly overextended. It's too much to ask the British Navy to completely blockade the colonies and protect the British coastline in Europe. So, the French realized that if they concentrate their forces in one area, they can gain a significant advantage over the British Navy. And that's just what they do at the Battle of Yorktown. This map doesn't show it very well. It shows the infantry or the ground forces involved in this final battle of the war. But what we don't see real well is that the French Navy was right off the coast of Yorktown and prevented the British from being able to escape. Without French naval support, the Americans could not have captured the British army at the Battle of Yorktown and won the Revolutionary War.